Hi, I'm Doggone. Hey, welcome back to EU4. I just wanted to drop in here and make a few observations. It's now 1651, just past, just turned 1650. The 17th century just turned 50 years old. Yay, 51. Here's a quick update. First, well, wow. The Ottomans, man, they have completely absorbed the Mamluks, including all that wealthy province around Cairo and the Nile, Alexandria, completely absorbed the Mamluks. We're in a steady state with Tunis here, nothing much going on. Spain, Portugal, our borders over here still look the same. Over in the Iberian Peninsula in northern Africa, I'll get back to Portugal in a minute. Let's continue our tour over here. I have gradually discovered more of the Eastern world, the Near East and the Far East. I don't know what's the norm for these provinces, but I thought this would be interesting to show. Kazan and Novgorod. There is no more Muscovy. Russia is completely gone. Norway and Sweden keep at it hammer and tong. In fact, Norway has established a colonial presence. Polotsk, Ruthenia. Let me come in and zoom a bit for Europe. Ruthenia has been formed. I don't know what it used to be. Hungary has formed a partnership as a junior partner to Austria. I had the opportunity to oppose it and go to war, but I really had nothing to gain, and so I turned it down. Bosnia, still surviving down here. Bavaria, almost completely surrounded by Austria now. The Austrians have grown gradually, inexorably into Europe. However, what really surprises me is nobody has gone after the Ionian Peninsula and into modern day Turkey. Nobody's really challenging the Ottomans yet. You can see Syria is a sovereign state. Brandenburg has a good chunk of contiguous provinces, as does Brunswick. Burgundy has sort of risen and fallen, and it seems to be coming back. Holstein still controls Denmark. Denmark has almost completely disappeared now. They had resurged, and I think in part due to rebellion, peasants or whatever, uprising. But they've gone away completely. I don't see any more trace of Denmark on the map. France. Let's get over here to France. You can see that Brittany has grown a little bit. And down here, let's talk about this too, through Milan and into the Italian peninsula. You see a lot of gold in here now. Yeah, dog's been a kind of a busy boy. I went on basically pretty much an 8 to 10 hour playing jag. I play at the lowest speed because I'm very slow at this, but I played almost the entire day yesterday and late into the night, off and on, while doing grading papers and doing classwork, homework rather. And we eventually vassaled Naples and then annexed Naples. We vassaled gradually, just bit by bit, chunk by chunk, Ferrara, and then annexed them. We actually did the vassaling first and then gradually annexing Siena. We took these two provinces from Siena, Firenze, and Modena. We gradually vassaled province by province, and then would do a diplo annex on them. We took two of the papal states provinces and several French provinces, and here's how. We finally, about 1610, 1611, I finally got my gumption up and went after France. I actually made several misplays in the process, but France was at war with somebody, Burgundy or Brandenburg or somebody, and I fabricated claims on some provinces. I actually over-fabricated claims. I should have only fabricated a few, and I think I fabricated 6 claims, which was way too many, too big a chunk to bite off. And I declared on France. Austria almost immediately dogpiled in, although they weren't bound to. They jumped in on France almost as soon as I did. And to my surprise, Brittany joined me in dogpiling on France. And I mean, Brittany joined me right away. Austria joined the war not as an ally, but as I guess they were a co-belligerent, because they declared on their own. I guess that's what you call it, a co-belligerent. And we carpet sieged France. We kicked France. We had them dead and on the carpet, on the mat. Every province was sieged, successfully sieged. It took years, but we got it all. The problems that I had, Brittany, by the way, was an amazingly useful ally here, as were my vassals. These guys, Ferrara, Modena, Siena, they basically just came over here and kicked butt. Because it wasn't just France. I wasn't worried about France. But Scotland was France's ally, and they joined in. Portugal was France's ally, and they joined in. Milan was France's ally, they joined in. And the Papal States were France's ally, and they joined in. I wasn't worried about the papacy. I knew I had enough firepower down here to handle them, and I did. Wasn't too concerned about Milan, because I had some troops down here, and I knew once Austria came in, I knew they'd be working on Milan, and they did. Wasn't worried about Scotland, because they're pretty impotent down here on the continent. You do have to watch out for their ships and just have a decent fleet out there. But Portugal, I knew they were going to be the thorn in the side, and they were. And I just had to designate a big stack to come over here and just first wipe out all of Portugal's armies here on the Iberian Peninsula, and then just carpet siege. And it took a long time. They have high fort levels here. It took a long time to siege their provinces, but I got them. The real damage Portugal did was overseas. They successfully sieged several of my colonies and my allies, like New Granada. Here's a sneak preview of our current colonial shenanigans over here, part of them anyway, the Panama. We have this nice island stream over here. It's the Castilian West Indies. It's beautiful. And I didn't make a decision to form those. They formed themselves once I had enough colonies together. And then up here, Castilian West Indies continues into what is most of modern-day Cuba. Well, while I'm talking about this, I might as well talk about the rest of them. My colonization activities of late have been up here in modern-day Cape Cod in Massachusetts, down here in modern-day Delaware and Maryland. So that's our colonization. You can see Norway has been very active. Britain, very active, aka the 13 colonies. Scotland has a few colonies, and they inflicted some pain over here. Not so much pain down in the on the continent, but over here in the colonies. England's more of England. and then Portugal. They're colonial spin-offs down here. Portugal have been very, very active, man, and in their colonization game, and it's been really fun to watch. I've been very passive in the colonization game, and Portugal's been active over on the South American continent as well as the African continent. You can see all the way down here, Cape of Good Hope, South Africa, modern day South Africa, and they've done a lot of explorating over here. They've got a colony over here in Ceylon, in fact. Or actually, I don't think this was a colony. I think it was a conquest. So Portugal is really leading the way, and that's a part of the game. They're over here in the Philippines. I don't have a good game over here, but Portugal is up in here. There was a time I played EU4 and enjoyed my colonization, but man, it just gets complex in a hurry. So I focused on the continent in this playthrough. So after basically carpet sieging the Papal States and wiping out Portugal's army, and then I was able to carpet siege Portugal. Then while that was going on, I was working on carpet sieging France, and then gradually turning back Milan, and then covering their provinces with siege. And so that's pretty much how this played out. And the Papal States came to me with a peace offering right off the bat, and I worked really hard on the peace out game this time, and I took a risk, and the Papal States were not a co-belligerent, but as the peace part of the peace agreement, I demanded 2 of their provinces, and along with some ducats, and so that reduced the Papal States to these 2 provinces plus this landlocked Avignon province. And that was well and good. I immediately started coring Romagna and Abruzzi, and that was all well and good. And then Portugal wanted to peace out, and I was reluctant to do it because I thought, well, if I peace out with Portugal, my war score with France is going to go down. But I thought I'd rather just have this simpler anyway. So I went ahead and pieced out. And instead of, I could have claimed a minor province here like Alentejo. It's very large, but it's one of their lowest tax provinces. It's a simple fishing province. And so I thought, well, instead of claiming that, I'm just going to force Portugal to annul their treaty, their alliance with France, so that the next time I get into it, I don't have to worry about, DOW and my bro here. I want to stay bro with Portugal, right? And so I just simply forged, broke their alliance with France. I could have done the same with the Papal States, and I kind of wish I had now, but instead I went after the 3rd province, and that wound up being instrumental later. Finally, it came time to peace out with France, and Milan was still in it at the time. I had tried a few things of a few trial runs at peace agreements with Milan, and I was like, I'll just lump it all under the France agreement. So here's what happened. Here's what we did. In the France peace out, we were up to like 87% war score, and so Brittany had sieged Anjou, and I said, okay, well, you give France, you give Anjou to Brittany, and it's a nice province, man. Good tax base and good production of cloth, and so I was really happy with that. Plus, Brittany gives you a temporary boost if you if you cut a portion of the peace proceeds out to them. I don't know if I talked about it, but Normandy was created in the earlier. France had gotten its butt kicked by Austria and Burgundy and Bavaria, and a number of the peace agreement aspects were giving sovereignty to this province, Franche-Comté, otherwise known as Provence now, part of Provence, I guess. Austria got some stuff. I think the Hainaut got some stuff. I know I'm butchering these names, I'm sorry. Liege, I think, was formed. And Normandy, these two provinces of Normandy were formed. So anyway, all that had already been done and was not my worry at the time. So we pieced out, and we didn't take any Milanese provinces, but we gave Constance to Austria, which gives them a nice corridor to move their troops back and forth, a nice supply line for the next war. So that happened. And then over here in France, I took a risk and demanded Languedoc, Toulouse, Armagnac, and Labourd. Previously, I'd had Béarn and I think Dauphin from another earlier agreement. So I got those 4 provinces and some gold, and I believe, no, I didn't. One of the peace agreements I looked at was forcing France to give up cores on Béarn and Dauphin, and I didn't do that this time. Instead, I went for Armagnac. Word. One of these days I need to take a French class. And so that's the state of the borders today. Austria got Constance from Milan. Brittany got Anjou. And we got 4 more South France provinces. And that's why France looks kind of weird. However, France, that didn't completely peace out France. They were still at war with some people. And eventually, once the carpet sieges were released, they had so much military score that they're able to create great generals and lead small regiments to victory. And they wound up getting these 2 provinces of Savoy and Vaud. That was a much more recent conflict, but okay, so that's how these borders came to be, and that's how France looks kind of jinky like it does now. But you know, when you tackle a big beast like France, the best thing to do is just to hack it in small bits, right? England still hasn't done anything. Almost immediately after we peaced out with France, dadgum Brittany goes to war to claim Puerto Rico. This is the war to claim Puerto Rico. And, I mean, it wasn't hard for them to claim Puerto Rico. The problem was, it was a war against England and Norway and England's Irish vassals here, Connacht and Munster. Oh my word. We went on into, but between the overextension from having these cores that we didn't have a claim, from having these provinces without a core on them, it took us 2 to 3 years to make cores on all these. We had rebellions popping up down here, old rebellions popping up. We had the Great Italian Revolt, put that down. But so after quite a while of Brittany just doing nothing except winning a few sea battles and taking Puerto Rico, I loaded up my transports and came up here to England and sieged the south side of England, including the London province, Oxfordshire, Cornwall, Wessex, and Kent. Sieged all these provinces and eventually did a separate peace out, and that's what, if I mouse over, separate peace -7, that's what kind of angered Brittany, but my people had had enough. I was going to pop up here saying, your country is about to have a major civil war. So I needed to peace out and get my war score down. And all I did in the peace out was I demanded some ducats from England and made them release, I think, Connacht as a sovereign state. Ooh, and now they're allied with Scotland. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Munster is still a vassal of England, but Connacht is separate. So the Ulsterians are grateful. Or at least they should be. They don't seem to be very grateful. Well, they're friendly, but do I have any diplomats? I don't. With distrust. What do you mean with distrust? You know what? You're not a vassal of anybody yet. Normandy. Where's fabricating a claim. Making good with some people. Okay. When this guy comes back home, we're going to send him up to Connacht and work on our street cred up in Northern Ireland. Okay, so a couple more things happen. And I know this is dragging on, and for those of you, I'm sorry I don't have the music, but I couldn't find a good music volume where it was just barely audible. It was overwhelming my voice in earlier episodes. Because, so I know, I'll try to make this quick. The Papal States had been cut down to size, and I had a mission to vassalize the Papal States, which I'd given up on in earlier years. Well, I came down and tried again, and it worked. I was able to get their diplomacy up high enough to successfully create a vassal. Now, I don't know if I'm going to annex them, because I think they would demand a separate papal state in Rome. I'd love to annex them and let them have Avignon. Just not sure that's going to happen. Secondly, Savoy got itself into a bit of trouble with France, and I mean, they're sitting here right between France and Milan with not much breathing room. France, Spain, Milan, here's Switzerland, by the way, and Austria right above them. So Savoy was caught in a vice. So I discovered that they were willing to vassalize and turn Savoy into a vassal. So they were our second vassal. Meanwhile, Normandy was friendly with us, so I worked their relations up, and they became a vassal. So we're now back to 3 vassals. For a while there, we had none because we had annexed Naples, Siena, Modena, and Ferrara. But now we're back to 3 vassals. And I don't know how fast I want to annex them. I could start on Normandy right now. I've got plenty of Diplo power. But I really enjoyed having these states down here as vassals. Would love to have one big vassal state, but you know, if a state gets above a certain income, they tend to break away. I would love to vassalize Brittany, but it's impossible because they have too much income. You can see the -1,000 qualifier. Brittany has subjects of its own. They have subjects in the West Indies. So until those subjects go independent, I'm kind of stuck with Brittany. Earlier, I just simply couldn't get their diplomacy up high enough to vassalize with them. So, England, you know, had just never done anything in this game. And right now, when I was up here messing around in Cornwall and Wessex, I discovered that they have 110,000 Fraticelli heretics up here. 110,000 heretics. And they can't raise enough armies to whittle those numbers down. So that may be why England is stuck. Anyway, England just has never been able to get its stuff together in this game. They're still a great power. And England and France, by the way, both dropped off of my rival thing. I was not able to no longer able to set them as rivals. So I had to come in here and set Milan as a rival. Looks like I can go back and set France as a rival now. Good. Good. All right. I think that's about it. I'm still on the lookout for more vassals. I want to carve out some more France, a few more provinces bit by bit. Would like to start carving into Milan. I may go ahead and diplo-annex Savoy when possible. But that could happen. Savoy, I'd love to have the entire Italian peninsula as Spain, Spanish Italy. The major powers, us, Austria, the Ottomans, and Portugal is the major overseas player now. Norway is gradually coming into prominence, and Austria is about to merge with Hungary in a personal union. So, yeah. Anyway, just don't know where I'm going to take this, but I'll probably pick it back up in a few days and play it some more. Just thought this was very interesting. I enjoy just really enjoying this playthrough quite a lot. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Talk to you again.